Yes,
Cecilia Saez with us today. Thank you so much for joining us for this fireside chat.
of course, my pleasure.
Well, and I love that you have involvement with, women in STEAM leadership, but I wanted to start with your career in particular and why you chose something along the STEM path.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's was by calling, right? It was a deliberate decision. I have throughout my career, I've actually moved across different industries on purpose, by design, because I really wanted to understand where is my home, where am I most motivated, because I truly believe that I spend a large majority of my life at work because I love my work. And I wanted
Mhm.
it to be in a place where I felt that was meaningful to me beyond the paycheck, beyond the career level. And so I went across, I experienced different industries, manufacturing, distribution, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, retail. And then I discovered the world of tech.
Mhm.
And I fell in love.
Look at the smile on your face. Well, now let me just say right there, I think it's important to point out that you said this is by design, that you chose to do these changes and do these things. And then I also, want to point out, and not that men don't have the same concerns, but I do find that professional women tend to need some kind of emotional reinforcement in what they're doing. And so I love the fact that you were intentional with the fact that if I'm going to spend so much time at work by choice, then I want it to be a place that satisfies me.
Yes.
Correct? Did I say that correctly?
Spot on, spot on. And I was never, I never, of course, very aware of gender gaps in career movements, even to some extent, to a large extent, compensation and industry, what's more male dominated than not. Was always aware and always kept an eye on it, but it never let me intimidate me.
Mhm,
In
mhm.
fact, I found that give me more challenge, and I will solve the problem, right? Because I
Right.
just by design I love to solve problems, and yes, traditionally more in the past than now, but still, the tech industry is very much male dominated, especially when we talk about profession or disciplines within under the STEM umbrella, right?
Mhm.
And women are making a breakthrough. But when I discovered the industry of technology, I was fascinated primarily by two things. Number one, the innovative platform that it created, right, at so many levels, that truly disruptive. If we think about companies like Uber, completely disrupted the
Mhm.
world of transportation, right?
Yeah.
The innovative kind of disruptive environment that tech companies have created, including Aspiration. And I'm so looking forward to talking about this company that I am so proud of. But the other part that I felt very enticing to me is that it attracted a a type of mindset, very entrepreneurial, very
Mhm.
like a newer generation, that, more open to taking calculated risks and testing things out, and finding solutions. And I love that environment. To me, is very innovative, and it's very stimulating, because it kind of keeps me on my toes. So
Mhm.
those are the two main reasons why tech sort of became my home, and I'm going to keep it my home. And then from there, I stayed within the technology uh, 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 industry and infrastructure. Obviously, now I'm at Aspiration, which is a financial technology platform. It's
Mhm.
fully everything digital. Because of that, we have, we zero emission. We also have this huge ethos that drives not only our business but our culture, and the mission is around sustainability. We are a ESG certified company, 1% for the planet, and B Corp. So
Mhm.
we are likely the only financial firm in the world that has that level and that strength and that lever in sustainability. And that is driving our business, not only from at the consumer level, because obviously people are attracted not only to the product that we provide and the services, but also the fact that every action they take within this nano bank is actually helping the environment. For instance, every transaction from any one of our customers, whether it's buying a $1.50 cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, or whether they are actually applying for our credit card zero, we plant a tree. So it's really
Oh,
helping
wow.
in the reforestation. 30 million trees are being planted because of our efforts, which is like the
Well,
size of,
and not to interrupt, but I mean, first of all, I didn't realize that that was happening with every transaction. And also, I love how it merges what traditionally has been thought of as something outside of business, right? You have this, I don't know, and it kind of goes with our conversation about women in tech. It's the fact that you have these old school mentalities or myths that people have said that, oh, well, tech is a male industry, right? Or that, being worried about the environment is more of, kind of hippy dippy, tree
yeah,
hugging, people in corporate suits don't care about whether the trees get cut down or not. But, this proves that no, we're in an age where all of this is relevant, right? It's all related. And it's great that again, you emotionally work for a company that you believe in and doing these things that helps, you again live a professional life.
yeah, in a responsible professional life, right? Because,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, we have children and grandchildren. What kind of world or planet do we want to leave behind, right?
Yeah.
It used to be a nice to have, or like you said, hippy dippy. Now
Yeah.
it's not longer a choice for many organizations to not operate sustainably. Look at the car industry. Now there are mandates that for every car they produce, they need to offset that carbon footprint with
Mhm.
carbon credits. Many companies right now are leveraging that. We are leveraging it as well. We have a nice stake in the ground. We are establishing Aspiration is establishing an enterprise business that really focuses on supplying carbon credits and selling them back to our enterprise partners,
Mhm.
so that we can support not only the continued work that we do in sustainability, but also we support other organizations in operating responsibly. Because honestly, that's the only way that we're going to be able to save the planet, is through reforestation and minimizing the carbon footprint. And so we are
Agree.
super excited about the work that we're doing. And it's in the financial services. It's like fintech. It's unheard of. We're
Right.
not an NGO. We are a for-profit private company, but uh, to us, sustainability is our mission, and not only on the environmental side, but also the social governance. So,
Mhm.
me, partnering with STAM and other entities that help us establish a more diverse workforce is super critical. I mean, through the association with STAM, just in since I believe January 2022, we hired over 20 women in positions in STEM position, primarily engineering, data, technology. But that's huge, because not
Yeah.
only it's really hard to find talent, but especially female talent in those areas. So we're doing well. I'm very proud of the work we're doing.
Well, Cecilia, we're proud of you too, and I love the fact that you are letting us know about what Aspiration is doing, and understanding why you work there and why you've chosen your career to be there. Um, and let's go to the women who are, watching, and this is kind of why we do this, is to show that there are places for you, like women who want to be a part of STEM. Quick story, I have a 7-year-old son, he loves gaming, right? So that's his gateway into, a tech career.
Definitely.
So, um, and I game with him. I'm a gamer. And so he, at one point in his life, when he was about 5, at 5 years old, he let me know, well, there's not a lot of women who game. There's not a lot of women who do these YouTube channels. There's not a lot of, and I said, "Well, I'm a girl and I'm sitting here doing it with you." I said, "Why do you say?" And he just had in his mind that it was gaming was a guy thing. And so I encouraged him, "Well, why don't you search for more women who are gaming? Like understand that, plenty of women game. Don't get in this mindset that only boys do one thing and girls do another thing." I'm trying to
Mhm.
teach him that everybody does everything. And so since then, he has, some of his favorite gamers are girls. Like he's found them and he's seen them and he enjoys them and wants to buy their products. And so now he understands that that's not the reality. So going to, women and girls who hear that tech again is an all boy thing, that if you work for a company, you're only going to be the only girl probably if you get hired at all. And here you talk about aspiration. Well, here's a company that's not going to be the case.
That's correct. And I'm kudos to you for providing that awareness to your son. And more of us need to do that with our sons and our
As
daughters.
women, sometimes, there's still those residual things that we've been told that we have to kind of shake out of our heads. And, that is a good segue into women in STEM leadership, because the whole point of the organization, again, is to encourage women, to include women who are in STEM leadership, but also to encourage women who are interested in this profession to pursue it. Like, again, it goes back to, what we said earlier about how, companies who gear toward the community, who make the employee and the client more important than the person who's in the corner office, are going to be the ones that are successful. That, like you said, to have diversity in hiring, to be sustainable, to protect Mother Earth, and that there are companies out there that understand that responsibility. So going to women in STEM leadership, why do you think that organization in particular is so important right now?
Well, for the purposes that we have discussed, right? When I believe it supports in breaking down these biases, breaking down these barriers, and bringing up, women into what traditionally and unfortunately still to some extent today is a predominantly male-dominated environment. And so I think the work that STEM and other platform and other communities like Girls Who Code, right? They are pushing through this barrier that is so prevalent and so unreal in terms of, unrealistic in terms of what it represents. And so I want to be an advocate for that. I want to be an advocate for that, but also, and maybe that's my own bias, I'm an advocate for women in leadership. I believe that all of us are sisters to each other, and we have had to fight very hard to get to where we are today. And still, it's not a level set position. We still have a lot of work ahead, but it requires for us to come together as this kind of woman community, female community, to push each other forward, to think about each other with the best intentions. And unfortunately, historically and traditionally, it's been more of a catfight competition, right? And so I wholeheartedly disagree with that. I wholeheartedly believe that we need to hold each other up, help each other, be advocates for each other. And there's going to be, one of our sisters who's got more power, and that sister's responsibility is to bring along others. And again, it's a community. It's about believing in a community and working together. There is power in number. Dr. Martin Luther King said that many years ago, and he's absolutely correct. And so that is one of the reasons. I hope it answered the question.
Oh, absolutely. Was, when you talk about coding in particular, made me think my son, like I said, he's entering the second grade, and he has an after school club that he has joined that's coding in the second grade. And I'm hoping there's as many girls in that class as our boys. And if there's not, I'm going to have to start to do some recruitment. But before we go, I mean, is there any, because Cecilia, you're a fantastic role model. I mean, it's infectious to hear you talk about. It's made me excited. I'm like, oh, well, I want to work. I want to work there, because this is a company that's so refreshing to hear about. So is there any piece of advice you'd give either an adult woman or maybe, a woman who is still in school and thinking about this kind of career? What advice would you give them?
The advice that I would give, again, it goes back to, supporting one another, having all as much as one possibly can, always have others' best intentions in mind, right? But I think a broad advice that I would give anyone that has been really helpful for me personally, but also for my team is, and it may sound to some extent naive, but I do believe that humans wake up in the morning, no matter what gender, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what you identify with, but we all wake up in the morning wanting to do something good, for ourselves and others. I truly believe that that's what makes this species we call the human race so special and so different and so powerful. So I start there. Every day I go to work, I believe that every single person, whatever they do and say, they mean something good from it. Now, sometimes it looks wrong. Sometimes it turns out to be a mistake. But let's not look at it through the filter of viciousness and malintention, but rather let's look at it through the filter of this person meant well. Let's coach them. Let's help them. Let's show them a better way so that next time they will succeed. And that is the motto across my entire team. And that's how I want them to act with their client groups, with each other. And that's what we really, truly believe in and align. And I tell you, it has been extremely successful, not only at the personal and human level, but also at the business level.
You know,
I mean,
people stay. We know this. People stay at a company if they feel comfortable and they feel appreciated by the people, and they appreciate the people that are leading them. Right. So it's a symbiotic relationship. Now,
absolutely.
thank you so much for your time. If someone wanted to reach out to you or find out more about Aspiration, where would they go?
The best place, I mean, LinkedIn. I live there.
Okay.
I'm not always looking for talent, but I also want to learn from others who post amazing stories and accomplishments. And so LinkedIn is the best place because I'm there literally 3 times a day.
Okay.
But happy to share also my email address, which you have, and we can start from there. But I'm always open to having conversation, meeting new people. I love mentoring women or anyone who's interested. So I know we're virtual, so my lines are always open. And I encourage you, to, anyone that would like to have a conversation with me, I'm open.
Cecilia, you've been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.